As it started, there we go. Okay, so the topics that we are beginning today is a little advanced, but you will definitely come across this in small, if not in small, then medium to large scale projects. The three topics that are there is content fragment, multi-site management, and internationalization. Second and third come together. We'll get into that. First, let's start with what is content fragment. So, content fragment, you can think of it like this. Experience fragment is a subset of a page, and content fragment is a subset of the experience fragment. And we'll get into what is the difference between content fragment and experience fragment in the end. First, let's see how we create a content fragment. What we usually do is in our assets, we simply go to files, just like we go to our DAM. Once we reach our DAM, we go to a specific location in our DAM. Like I went here, then assets, files, then I went to a specific location. Let's just say Coolray website. You have this images folder, so we go in there. So we can create a content fragment anywhere. So let me go to the other instance, which is 5. Is this the one, right? To show you how it looks. I think I've created it someplace. There we go. So I went to a specific destination. I created a content fragment. If I create a content fragment, I get the usual selecting a template and then giving it a title. The name could be something like sample content fragment. Okay. If you want, you can give it a description, a tag, and as you can see, the title is same as name, so it's fine. You create it, and once you create it, you'll get something like this. Once you try to edit this, you will see this. This is the most simple template for content fragment, in which we see this master variation, in which we can give it some content. We can style it. Okay, we can give it a link if we want. Whatever content specific thing we want to do, we can do it here. And then we can create, similar to experience fragment, we can create variations here. Once you create a variation, you get it here. And you see that whatever you have in master is being displayed here, but here you can change it. I don't know. And let's save it. There you go. Now if you open it again, you will see that in master variation, you have different content, different styling, different maybe links and all those kind of things. And in variation 2, you have something different. Now when we are using a content, this is how you create a content fragment. By the way, I've gone through all these steps. You go to DAM location where you want to create the content fragment. These are the first 2 steps. And then finally you create a content fragment, choose a template, give it a name, and then edit it. Now there are many kinds of templates you're going to come across in content fragment. The one that I showed you is very basic, a text one, in which you, for different variations, you have given different content and styling. In the example in PPT that I've shown you, this is a pricing template. That's why you see these all options like commitment, and term, arrangement code, buying program, customer segment, sales channel, market segment. Okay, so you have seen the text one. Let me discuss the other kind of template. Like if you have a pricing template for your content fragment, so use whatever you see here. You have drop downs for different fields. You choose those details accordingly. Like for in this case, this is a product, and for this product, we are choosing the commitment, the term. There is a unique arrangement code that you will obviously be provided. Then under which buying program does it come, whether it is retail. Now the customer segment can be individual or a group of people. Sales channel is direct, market segment is com, offer type. Okay, so offer type could be a promotion, it could be something a usual price, a promotion offer, those kind of offer type you can choose here. And finally, price point. Based on the selections that you have applied here, a price will be populated in the content fragment, and you simply save it, and wherever you use that specific variation of the content fragment, based on your selection, you will see a price. This is another kind of content fragment which is very useful, which is used a lot actually, and specifically in large projects. So once you've selected the desired configurations, for example, here we are choosing the price of products and its various other details. Uh, your configuration is done. Once you've saved it, once you have given it all the text and the styling that you've given, you saved it. The content fragment has been created and configured. Okay, now just a note here, like an experience fragment, we can create multiple variations of a content fragment, just like I showed you here. So every variation is unique, is mutually exclusive. Master has got nothing to do with variation 2, and you can create as many variations as you want. Like if you want a general text, a text that you want, a promotion text. Then similarly, a second promotion in the year, maybe around Christmas time, you want something different. Around Black Friday promotion time, you want something different. So those kind of variations you can create it here, and you can use those individual variations as and when required. So moving on to how to use a content fragment. A content fragment is usually used in an experience fragment. This bit I did try on multiple instances, but this is not reflected. So we'll go through this theory. We have these some images. Let me at least go to the experience fragment and let you know how it is created. So once you have uh, created and configured your content fragment, the next step would be to open an experience fragment, and you go in properties, and in properties you will have a tab specifically dedicated to inheriting the content fragment that has been created. Now we don't have any such tab here, so I'll be going through, just checking if we have by default. No, clearly not. So this will need to be introduced by the dev team. It's not by default clearly. So I'll tell you what it is. So you go to your desired experience fragment, open your properties, and for this, in this scenario, the dev team configured a commerce tab. Commerce tab here. When I went to that commerce tab, I had the option of um, referring a content fragment, basically inheriting a content fragment. There I pasted a reference of the content fragment. The reference would be, I believe this, no, this entire, no, this thing only. I'll tell you why we have left this, because for master we would have something different query parameter, and for variation we would have something different. So what we did was we picked the relative path, pasted there. So this content fragment has been loaded, but now how do we narrow it down? Which variation do we want? That for that we had another drop down. which would say something as master and variation 2, the names of the variations that you see here. And in that drop down, we selected the variation. And finally, since this is related to price, so we had some extra options, like if we want to uh, enable the VAT price option, so it will add the VAT as well to the price. And if we wish to override the price with a manual price that we want there itself. So we might need, for a specific promotion, we might decide, okay, let's reduce it $1 as well. But we know that next time onwards this will revert to the same price that we have set in content fragment. So instead of changing it to that content fragment, we had the option of doing it manually. And once done, once you have basically inherited the content fragment and properties of your experience fragment, you hit it save. And now you can use your content fragment using placeholder text. What is placeholder text? This is placeholder text. It looks like this. You see double curly braces, opening and closing. And in between them, you see dexter.commerce.price or dexter.commerce.vat text. And this is what you're going to author, and this is what is going to populate and be visible to your end user. So you see uh, this entire thing, US dollar 9.99, is coming from this placeholder text. This placeholder text is inheriting this value from the content fragment. And to make sure that we are able to use this placeholder text, we need to make sure that we go in properties of the experience fragment and inherit the content fragment. Then only these placeholder text are going to work when we create a text. And in that text, we put whatever we want, price, and then put something like, and slash mo simply is plain text, and price colon is plain text. Anything between double uh, curly braces is your placeholder text.
Is
And you
that is it a token site?
yes, you can call it a token. There you basically pointing to something that is already existing in your database. So you can call it a token. And if your next question is how do I decide which token you need to be used, so the dev team, if there are a lot of placeholders, then you will definitely get the option of adding. You'll get a placeholder icon here. You click on it, you get all that, and you can select it. Okay, so it's not as complex as you think. If it is pretty basic, anyways, this will only exist in large projects where project that has been going on since years, and there are multiple promotions going on the entire year. So for a very wealthy product, this is something that you're going to come across. uh, Note that these commerce placeholders only work in experience fragment. So that was how it was built. Now, any question related to creation, configuration, or using content fragment? Next is just theory. So, okay, I think it's clear. Moving on to the last bit, your question would be, okay, I did tell you that experience fragment is kind of a subset of a page, like a page. If we can imagine a page built of multiple experience fragments, and a experience fragment can be thought of built using multiple content fragments. So what is the difference between content fragment and XF? By the way, this is the short form that we keep on using. You are also going to keep on using XF. So content fragment are editorial content, which is primarily text and related images. That's it, nothing else. There they are just pure content without any design or layout. Now, if we talk about experience fragment, We know that experience fragment, we use XF if an author wants to reuse parts of a page on other pages as well. And an XF always have a design or layout and obviously content. So what do I mean by that? So you see this text is content. If I add an image, that is content. But if I set the layout of this, like set it like, I'm not sure if it, oh, did it work? No, it's not going to work. The layout would be the design of it. Like I align this text and then I put an image, and then both of these, what I can do is I can put it inside a container. Okay, and it is aligned like image then text, and I can set its layout as small or something. So you see all these thing, the order of it, the order of all the components, the padding around it, some styling added to it, around it, not inside it, around it. This entire thing would be layout. And in XF we have layout along with content obviously. And in content fragment we are only concerned with some text or or some image. That is it, nothing else. Okay, so if we think about it, what we are basically saying is at the bottom comes content fragment, then comes XF, and then finally comes a page. So any question until this point of time? This would be end of content fragment. So
Saif, you said that the content fragment will come inside the XFS.
yes,
Okay.
that is how it usually is. So see, that is how I worked with. I've seen that it's configured in XF and properties. You go ahead and inherit it. Then you can think of that placeholder will work now. You in terms of coding, you import something, right? Import libraries. So what you're doing is you're going in properties and you're importing that specific library, that specific content fragment. And now when you try to author this experience fragment, you can use its whatever has been defined in that content fragment, whether it is text, image, some price, or whatever content there is. You can now use it in experience fragment using a placeholder text. Okay, like this. Apart from this, any other question? Okay, moving on. So this is again, these are advanced topics. Just learn about it, know about it. If you have any questions, please ask about it. And yeah, you might come across it in medium to large scale projects. Moving on to multi-site management. Now uh, you know there is this facet in web development, that we don't just build a website for a specific user in a specific country. We build it for the world. Now there are multiple languages in the world, there are multiple cultures in the world that we need to cater to. So every website for every geography need to adhere to some guidelines, so that we can we can reach out to more customers across the world, uh, and we make sure that it is appealing to them. So the entire system, if we talk about how do we do it, is called as multi-site management. Now what we are doing is we created a page. Now we'll be creating, we go to page. Now we're talking about, I think I'll be able to replicate this. Let me try this out. Let's create something for, which country would you prefer? India. IN would be the name. Let's give it a title, India. Description, let's give it the same as India. So that would be it. Let's create it. And in India, we use the language. Let's create on the page. So everything after this you see is a page, just for your knowledge. So in India, let's create a website in English, dedicated, which is in English. And let's create a page. I'm not sure which language should be. Let's create one for maybe Hindi. Or maybe let's try something out like German or something, because we only create English language for India. So let's not give you German would be, I think, GR. Well, it is up to us. I'm not sure about German would be, let's give it GR. Okay. So now we obviously have our main page in USEN. What we are going to do is creating multi sites for a different geography. Instead of US, we are creating it for a different geography, which is India. And under India, we have multiple languages, English and German. Okay. So let me try and create two things like for, I'm not sure, does this has any content? I just need a little bit of content. That is it. Okay. It does not have. So let me create it. Just to give you a gist of it, let me create more components so that you know what it, you know, the kind of stuff that you need to do. So dropping this image here, giving it a metadata, like I'll let it for now be image decorator. Let's not dive into that. So we have a pretty basic text. I give this as hmm, there you go. And that is it. So this is our page. The page that we see under USEN is known as the blueprint. Like if you create any project, talking about even non-IT terms, generally speaking, we always have a blueprint for a building that has to be, constructed, a blueprint for um, an event that needs to be launched, a blueprint for any project that you can think of. Blueprint is, would be your, we could say it as the parent page. So this, let's use the technical term, which is known as blueprint. So let me start with theory now. Now that we have understanding, so using a website as blueprint replicates structure and content across multiple live copy websites and language copy websites. Okay. So what do we mean by live copy and language copy websites? Okay, let's create those. Let's create a live copy. The first step would be deciding, let's give it the name as same test page. Push and modify. Let's give it standard rollout config, nothing else. Exclude sub pages if there are. So I'm done. And let's create a language copy. Excluding the sub pages. We just want to see one for now. So the target language is German. Oh, it's not going jumping there. So, oh, you see a lot of German. So these would be specific to, geographies. Let's give it German D. Do we have a cloud configuration path? I don't think so. Let's use Microsoft Translator, whatever has been given by default, but we do have third-party translation softwares. Anyways, moving on. Next. Oh, okay. Now here's the thing. There is a translation bit as well here. So we can deep dive into that as well together. Let's give it a title. Test translation. So if I now, wait, why do we have a German here? Did I give it a wrong? Did I get a chance to create a, oh, okay, got it. Understood. So let me delete this. So language copy would be created at geography level. You won't be asked the destination for it. Let's see if the translation has happened by default, which it didn't have happened. So let's give it, never use Google Translate. By the way, you won't be asked to translate. There would be obviously a team which would be doing doing this for you, because by the way, Google Translate is a very bad translator. So never suggest it as well, or never use an alternative as well. Always take someone's help to get that corrected. So German, I'm doing it manually, but this is now how it usually happens. I just want you guys to see how it looks. Okay. Do I see inheritance? No. Okay, not an issue. Get into this. Let me see if we have inheritance here. There should be inheritance here. There you go. Okay. So clearly I can definitely tell you about MSM. So now what do we have? So we have this blueprint, the page from which we are creating live copies and language copies. The page that we want to be replicated is known as the blueprint. And we have two things known as live copy and language copy. Live copy does not do translation. It simply replicates your page completely. I'll get to the bit of what does replication mean. And language copy, when you want to translate the content on your page before replicating or during the process of replicating your page, you choose a language, and what you saw is this is your geography US. Inside your geography itself, whatever language you chose, if you chose multiple languages, then you would have seen multiple languages like this, like Italian, French, and under all those you would have seen a test page, the name of the page that you have created, like this, and those individual page would be translated to the specified language, which in this case would be German. So now coming back to this theory bit, using a website as blueprint, replicate structure and content across multiple live copy websites and language copy websites. You can create as many live copies, as many language copies as you want from a single blueprint page. And what it does is uh, it maintains an inheritance between the blueprint and each individual live or language copy websites. And whatever structure, whatever design, whatever layout, and whatever content you have defined in blueprint will be inherited completely in each individual live copy website. Let me try and open everything of it. So this is what USD, right? there will be USEN one. And to avoid this confusion, let me correct this. Get that header and footer. Oh, clearly won't see it here. Maybe CSEN, right? Give me a moment. Okay, so I'm breaking inheritance here. Don't worry about it now. I'll tell you what it means. There you go. Now you have this. The page test page that comes under USCN as your blueprint page. This is how it looks. You have the header and footer at top and bottom. You have a text and an image. Now, uh, wait a minute. Why is this? Wow, this looks so bad. Let me revert it. This looks really bad. By the way, you can do this. This is very useful. I'll show you in content how it looks. For now, I'm doing all this very quickly. So this will be a little confusing, but don't worry about it. There you go. Okay. So by the way, this header and footer is not something, that gets inherited. It's something defined in properties. So we can forget about those. Uh, so this is the blueprint page, which comes under USEN. The page that comes under INEN is our live copy because the language is not changing. And then under USD, we have our, give me a moment. This looks really bad. Maybe let me create a page here. And can you tell me a country? UK. UK also has EN, right? So let's give it United Kingdom, but need language. So maybe UK English. UK English would make sense, right? Hmm. Let's delete this. This is definitely useless. Does not look same, so it doesn't make sense. Yes, post delete. Now we're creating the live copy again. We selected the test page, create live copy, selected the destination now to UK English. Next, gave it a title like test page. There we go. Under UK English as well, we have this. Let's remove this. Now at least all these pages. Why is this not looking same? Where is this coming from? Hmm. Can we remove the experience fragment for this? Okay, let it be. Maybe we won't be able to do that. Anyways, coming back to this, let's talk about blueprint. Our USCN page is our blueprint page. The page that we don't want it to be translated, we just want the entire content and layout to be replicated. Then we create a live copy and we get it as it is. As you can see, you see this new icon. I'll come to that bit. Uh, and if you want it to be translated, then you use this. Create a language copy. You created one for German. Now there is inheritance between the blueprint and each of the live or language copy. So what it means is that any changes in the blueprint is replicated in all the inheritance intact components of the live or language copy. There will be components in your live or language copy which have inheritance broken. So any changes need to be done locally here. So now let's deep dive into what inheritance is. Uh, so let me try and change this. Hmm, why did this? Oh, got it. Needs to be ruled out. Uh, there is so many blockers here. Like I'm not able to roll out these features to show you. Okay, so okay, clearly I won't be able to show you what in reality what it happens, but I'll tell you in theory what happens. Once you make changes to your blueprint, you have a new option called as rollout here, rollout page. You click on rollout page and you can select all the geographies. That geographies will include this US, ENUK, this USD, to which what you can do is all the components in your live copies which have this inheritance intact. Like this lock is not broken. If I break this lock, then it looks like this. Okay, now inheritance has been broken on this component. Uh, so if I roll out the changes from blueprint to both these geographies, what will happen is that the components that have the inheritance broken will have no change, and the components which have this inheritance intact will change to whatever new value you have given here. Let's just say you change the image here and then you rolled out the changes to all the geographies and you refresh this page, you will see this image being changed because there is an inheritance intact. That's why this image that you see is being inherited from the blueprint. It does not exist locally and you cannot change it as well. If you can see it here, you don't have the option to configure it. Once you break the inheritance, then you can make changes locally on this page. Otherwise, all the components that have this inheritance intact are being, in simple terms, inherited from the blueprint. Whatever is there, whatever you roll out will be passed along to all the geographies. It could be 60 geographies in which you have inheritance intact on the image component and all other and many other components. So once you make changes in the blueprint and you have the option to you roll out, select the geographies and click on simple rollout button. And once you open your geographies, you refresh your page, you will see that this image has been changed and all the components that have their inheritance intact will be synced with what exists on our blueprint page. So do you understand what inheritance is? Any confusion around what inheritance is? Okay, moving on. So this is very important. This is why we do it. So I've created only 2 pages. Now imagine you have to create maybe 30 pages. And the thing is, those pages uh, will exist in future as well. And those changes will keep on happening. So the whole point of creating all this and maintaining all this is to create a system in which we have a blueprint page and all the child pages like this USE and UK, USD have a lot of components which have inheritance intact with the blueprint. So in future, if we want to make a change to, let's just say, this image, we make that change and we simply roll it out. So we don't have to go in and change it across 30 pages. We just make that change in one place and we roll it out. And anything that needs to be like a few components of a single component, or maybe two or three components that for specific geographies need to be updated locally, then we can do it. But then again, imagine the amount of effort, our effort that is being reduced using this. So whenever we think about international projects which have international geographies, you will definitely come across this. So there might be so that the pages would already exist, and what you would be asked is to make change to the blueprint page, roll it out, check it for all geographies that it has been updated, and make some local changes for some specific geographies. Like you would be asked to go ahead and make change to this specific text on Germany page. Okay. So this is the general understanding. Now, how to create a live copy? I've already told you. You select the blueprint website, you hit create, then live copy. Just like I showed you, you select the destination, you give all these details. You can choose rollout configuration. By default, you can choose standard rollout configuration unless you have been told to choose some other configuration which the dev team has put in place for your project specifically. So you would obviously have that. Decide whether you want to uh, exclude sub pages or include it, then simply leave it uncheck and hit create. The next thing would be creating a language copy from a blueprint. It is as simple as that. You select the blueprint website, create language copy, select the source files. So you will have a lot of files. So if you have sub pages, you will see multiple sub pages as well. You select all those that you need to be translated, and you come across this page in which you choose the target languages. Now here you can choose as many languages as you want. Here I chose only Greek and Arabic, but you can choose as many as you want, like German, Italic, uh, it, Italian, and all kinds of languages. You can choose as many languages as there is. You choose a translation provider credential. Here you just have the default Microsoft Translator, but you would have obviously more options. There could be a translation setting. These all details will be provided to you by dev. So you would know what you need to select here. The languages, you'll get it as a requirement from client, and all these configuration would remain same. And this will be provided to you in the beginning of the project itself. Okay, and then finally create multi-language translation project. The step after this, in which we selected multi-language translation project, gave that project a title, simple name, nothing else, and done. This is what is entirely multi-site management. Any questions, or should we jump to internationalization? How do we, uh, now we have created language copies. Now how do we translate those pages using third-party tools? So any question related to multi-site management?
Fine.
Yes.
Whatever we do, the changes in blueprint
Uh,
only affects to the live copy, but not the language
no,
copies.
no, it affects to language copy as well. I'm not sure why it is not showing up here.
No,
So
no, what
yeah,
I mean, like in language, like we take in German language, okay, the text is
yes,
different. But
yes,
whereas in live cop, I mean, in blueprint, it is in English. So if we
yes.
do any text changes in
Mhm.
blueprint, then that is in English. Then how it will affect for the
Yes,
language?
you're right. So think of it like this: that the languages that need translation, the text will obviously have inheritance broken, because we cannot keep the text that we see here in sync with here, because it needs to be translated. So all the languages like German, Italian, anything that is other than English, which exists in our blueprint copy, any those kind of text will have their inheritance broken, and those changes will be done locally. on that specific geographies page. There would be, you know, images and those kind of stuff, images, the layout that you see, right? The container, maybe the column container, it will be 3 columns. So
Yes.
those kind of thing can be put in sync. But if we talk about something as this, yes, it will have inheritance broken and it will be updated locally on
Sure.
this page itself. Okay, anything else? Okay, so moving on to our last topic, internationalization. This is a process thing. I doubt I can show you. Let me try if I can. So internationalization simply means translation. So just for your understanding, you might hear this name I-18N. So it's nothing. It's also known as I-18N. And this, if you go through that YouTube tutorial, you will come across that. It simply means that there are 18 characters between I and N. The name, how it came. So it's not important. It's just for your knowledge that translation, internationalization, translation, I-18N. Whatever you hear is simply translation, nothing else. So generally speaking, it is geography specific language display. If your user is visiting a website from a French location, they should, and you have a French language, French version of your website. Like if I talk here, a person is, you know, visiting your website, visiting your this website from German location, and you have a website dedicated to German audience. So they should see this. Okay, and to make sure that it is translated, we use this internationalization term, and that is what it means. How do we do it? Simple. Okay, so yeah, remember I told you that it is very important to use internal links as relative. So this is where it comes of use. So if your links, internal links are relative, and once you create translate your pages from blueprint to language copies, and if you have your links as relative, then it saves you time of translating those links. So AEM has that capability of converting your link which looks like this content cool ray USEN. Okay, you have a link like this on your blueprint. So on your language copy, it will change for your specific geography. Okay, so you have 30 geographies. So this bit will change automatically if you have set it in your blueprint. If you have set the links to relative, then this bit will update itself. For a language copy which is Italian, it will change to this. For a language copy which is French, it will change to this. So that's why always make sure if you are in an internationalization project, the first thing that you should check is go to US published and check that all the links that you see, the internal links that you see, whether it is in, you know, in your header, in your footer, or in your content, anywhere, if you see an internal link which is not relative, change it to relative. Because uh, if you don't, what will happen is imagine 30 geographies in which you need to update all the links. So if you have 10 links, then you have 300 changes to make. So always remember, before translating pages from blueprint to language copies, uh, all the links, all these would be internal links, by the way. All the internal links are relative. If not, then update it. Next thing that you do is here you will see something known as rollout page. You click on it, then you get an entire table of content, and to each geography you will see a checkbox. So there is something known as Langmaster. Think of Langmaster as a a sub parent, a parent that comes after, a parent that comes under blueprint but above all language copies. So think of it like this. So the USEN page would be your parent, and then once the next thing that you do is you translate it to Langmaster EN. Okay. If I talk about how the Langmaster looks, what you will see is here you will see something Langmaster and EN. So what you're simply doing is you're translating your USEN page first from USEN to Langmaster EN location, and then from Langmaster EN to further geographies. Okay. So yeah, Langmaster EN and then your language copies. This is how the tree looks. At the top you have your USEN, then Langmaster EN, then all language copies. So let's just say you're translating 30, 50 pages from USEN. So you first roll it out from USEN to Langmaster EN. Rolling out is simple. You have the option of rollout page here. Then you will see a table of a list of all geographies, and against each list item you will see the option of checking it, and at the top you will have the option of selecting it all. You can select all the geographies in one go and simply roll out. What it will do is it will create a copy under the Langmaster EN location. Langmaster, just like US, you're going to have a Langmaster here, and inside that you're going to have an EN, and inside that all the pages that you're rolling out. Rolling out simply means a copy of it will be created here. Next is yes, once you have rolled out your blueprint page, you have checked all the links are relative, you have rolled it out to Langmasterian. Next would be creating a localization project. Now, how do we do that? Let me see if we have that option. I don't think so. So there is something known as localization project. Localization basically means your um, geographies are also known as locales. So you're creating your website for different locales, and that's why it's known as localization. So we don't see the option there. We can create a localization project in our AM instance. The first thing that we do is we give it a title. Title is simple name, nothing else. Okay, we give some general configuration here. Let me zoom in to show you how it looks. Oh, sorry. Oh, how do I get that? Oh, hand icon is not there. Okay. You give it a name, content structure, workflow, these kind of details will be given to you. You don't need to worry about that. And then next thing you do is you create. Go ahead and create it. And after you have created it, you will see something like this. Okay. You see this translation project system and you see this project generator. The first thing that you do, you see a globe icon here. You click on it. And once you've clicked on it, the next thing you do is you have the list of all languages here. And against each language, you have the option of selecting a geography or ignoring it. So here you can see that we have ignored the Serbian geography we have ignored, Croatian geography we have ignored, Thai geography we have ignored, and everything else we have selected. So at this step, you're deciding to which geographies, to which locales your page should be translated to. And once you have done that, you hit OK. Next step is in the project generator only, bottom right, you have three dots. You click on it and then uh, you click on it to add pages and experience fragments. So while you translate, while you're raising a translation project request, you can translate your pages and experience fragments because a lot of pages will have, you know, a common experience fragments. So you add all the pages and experience fragment links here like this. Okay. As you can see, this is Langmaster EN product. This is a page. This is another page. This is another page. These two are, sorry, experience fragments. So you add all the pages and experience fragment that need to be translated. Just remember that they are supposed to be Langmaster links. You cannot directly convert USEN links. That's why the first step was rolling out to Langmaster EN. Once you rolled it out to Langmaster EN, you have a copy of it there. Now, what you're doing is you're added all the Langmaster links for pages and experience fragments. And once you have covered everything on your entire website, all the pages, the experience fragments, you move on to the next. Yeah, where is it? There we go. Okay. Yes, once you have created this, the next thing is at this stage, your whatever third party tool you're using as a translation tool will get a request to translate all these pages and experience fragments into these specific geographies that you selected. Once they are done on their like we used something known as world server. So once we were at this step, we did this, they received the request, they started working on doing it. You will see the progress on their end. They will let you know that okay, we have done the complete translation. They will notify you through mail. You can check it on their website. And once you know that the project request that you raised has been completely translated from their end, you can come back to this view again, and you can generate something known as sub. Oh, sorry. This step should have been through. Okay, so I forgot about this. There is something known as generate sub projects. So what it does is, remember we selected geographies, right? All these geographies. This is actually the last step. Once you've selected all the, you have covered step till 7. The last step that is left is to generate a sub project. In the project generator at top left, you will see the drop down icon. Click on it. Click on generate sub projects. So what it will do is you see something like this project generator. Similar to this, you're going to see individual boxes for each geographies. You have already specified the pages that needs to be translated. You have specified the geographies that needs to be translated, and you can come back to this page to know that which geographies have been completely translated. And the next thing you can do is once everything has been done, you can request scoping reports. So there is something, if we talk about translation, translation is not word to word, but translation is always contextual. Like Google Translator has this problem that they translate it word to word. That's why their translation is not effective, not efficient. The third party tools or the inbuilt tool that we are going to use do what we know as, you know, they match the words, they try to match the context as close as possible. So they try to be as efficient as possible while translating whatever we are given to them. So you can request a scoping reports post translation, and you can get a report in which you will have something like this. Against each language, you see ice match, 100% words, 100 to 195% words, and these kind of. Ice match simply means that it's basically saying, telling you that, okay, these many words completely 100% match the translation word by word, and they are accurate in terms of context as well. And 100% words column means your only translation of words match 100%, but they do not match the context. So you can generate a report like this to know how accurate your translation is. And that is it. Click start under project generator and you're done. Okay, this would be your final step. And that is it. Any question related to the entire PPT, let me know and I'll jump to that topic. So any question related to content fragment? Any question related to multi-site management? Any question related to internationalization? Okay, let's wait for a minute uh, and see if you guys have any questions. There you go. You have the timer on. I know these topics are very advanced. So if you feel overwhelmed, that is completely understandable. Whenever you start working with any of these stuff, you will have someone to guide you through it. Because there is a lot at stake here, like multi-site management. You're working now, you're creating 30 more pages. So at any step, if you do anything wrong, then it needs correction in 30 places. So that becomes a huge load. So great, we don't have any queries. Let me first stop the recording.